A 7-year-old accidentally shot himself in the head at the Bavarian Village Apartments in Bridgeport Township. Now, the shooting happened just after midnight, the Bridgeport Township Police say. The boy was taken to a local hospital and then transported to another hospital in critical condition. Mid-Michigan Now's Courtney Bennett joins us now with the story. Courtney, what can you tell us?
Dave, Bridgeport Township Police say the gun was not secured, and that gun is now part of the police investigation. What we don't know is if there were adults home at the time of the shooting or if the child was alone. When it comes to firearm injuries, national studies show that they are increasing among children.
Children as young as 3 years old are strong enough to pull a trigger on a gun. So we have to make sure that the guns are out of reach from our children.
In 2020 alone, firearm injuries were the leading cause of death for children ages 1 to 19, according to the Centers for Disease Control. Laura Walker is a specialist with Covenant Healthcare's Trauma Education Injury Prevention Program.
We need to do something to prevent trauma from occurring.
Walker says one way to educate the community is to make sure they understand how dangerous guns can be.
Just like you talk about with your kids why it's important to wear seatbelts, why it's important to get in their car seats, why it's important to wear a life jacket if you don't know how to swim, water safety, all these things that we teach our children to be safe. We don't talk about guns.
To address the issue of gun safety, the University of Michigan launched the Institute for Firearm Injury Prevention last year.
There is not a single antidote to this problem. There isn't one solution that's going to solve this problem, that's going to get rid of these injuries and deaths from happening.
Rebecca Sokol says they are working with families on strategies to support children and keep them safe.
So really encouraging more firearm owning families to adopt safe firearm storage practices could really increase safety for our children.
We are 1 week before Election Day. The Michigan Secretary of State's office saying nearly 2 million Michiganders have requested absentee ballots. Mid-Michigan Now's Chloe Godbold checked in with one local clerk's office in Genesee County to see how they are preparing for that big wave of those ballots.
So that's right, Dave. I spoke with both Genesee County Chief Deputy Clerk and Flint Township's clerk. They both tell me they expect to see a big turnout when it comes to absentee voting and say they are prepared for it. As Election Day approaches, many local clerks' offices are working around the clock, like the clerk's office in Flint Township. Manya Triplett, the Flint Township clerk, says she's positive more people will be voting absentee than in person.
We've got over almost 6,000 ballots, absentee ballots that we've sent out, and we've received over half of them back.
Triplett says another thing that is keeping her staff busy is early voting.
Our doors open at 8:30. We have people here waiting to vote at 8:30, and sometimes we even have lines outside the door.
In order to prepare for anticipated big crowds of voters, Triplett says they are working extra hours to make sure everyone's vote counts.
We just process the applications as they come in. We always bundle in 25. That helps the count to go a lot easier. And like I said, we've just increased our hours. We normally work Monday through Thursday. Now we're working Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays to get the job done.
We have not heard of any problems in the polling locations. We're ready to go.
Leslie Riley is Genesee County's Chief Deputy Clerk. Riley says she also expects many people to vote by absentee ballots and assures the county is ready as well.
We run through all of the electronic tabulation machines, make sure that they're reading correctly, and prepping, for the election to make sure, if there's any little problems or anything. So far, the results are coming in, and we have no problems at all.
She says after polls close, local clerks report results to them, in which they send out immediately to the public.
That's how we report them to the media. We post it on our website, and to people, that just want to know as they come in, we will be reporting them in real time. And we also then report to the state.
Riley says she also wants people to understand the voting process and to let people know that they can be poll observers.
There's public areas where they can watch. People come in and watch the voting process. They can actually watch the tabulation process at the end of the night. They can come and watch as the local clerks are bringing the results into us. They can attend the Board of Canvassers meeting to see how the canvassers are certifying the vote. It's all done very publicly.
You may be surprised to know that comprehensive sex education is not mandatory in Michigan schools. According to state law, the only thing that is required in schools is HIV/AIDS education. Michigan School Board Vice President Dr. Pamela Pugh says anything above that is up to each school district.
Curriculum is set at the local level. At the state level, Michigan Department of Education, we set the guidance and we set the standards around these topics.
Dr. Pugh says parents can be involved in the process. She says they have the option of joining advisory boards that are tasked with setting the sex ed curriculum. Pugh says over the past year, she has heard from superintendents who are asking for guidance in making their curriculum more inclusive.
We want to make sure that all children feel welcome and supported and that they can see themselves within the materials that they're learning about. And I think that all districts are trying to sort through and figure out what that looks like.
Genesee County parent Natasha Thomas says the LGBTQ plus community needs to be represented in the sex ed curriculum in Michigan schools.
As we prepare our children for the future, right, and we prepare them for this diverse world, we let them know that there are people who are all different kinds of genders and orientations, and that there's value in that.
Dr. Pugh agrees. Educators
Should be trained on how to make sure they're ensuring a supportive environment for the children that they're coming in contact with, those children that they're educating.
Jamie McElvaney is also a parent in Michigan. She agrees that sex education is important, but does not believe the curriculum needs to be revised.
I understand the struggle because you do want everybody to be included. My struggle is that it's being shoved down the kids' throat with the LGBTQ talk, the radical gender talk is being talked about so much that they're influencing the way these young kids think.
Thomas says it's not about influencing children. It's about preparing them for the real world.
When I hear, parents say or push for these kind of non-inclusive policies, it is bigotry to me. It's a denial of the existence of people that they deem different than them.
McElvaney said this isn't an issue of discrimination. It's about what is appropriate. She calls for unity.
Is if there's ever been a time that the left and the right should come together, it should be about the over-sexualization of the kids. Like, we should be able to agree on that.
Dr. Pugh believes this issue has been politicized for no reason.
Parents really do have to really investigate and for themselves and make sure that they get the full picture of what's going on.